Saturday to come and talk with us. As you all, I'm sure, are very familiar with, we are spreading the street here, probably in late September timeframe. I don't have the construction schedule yet. And the goal, there's a couple of goals. One is we're seeing a lot of collisions along the corridor, and cars are going faster than they should be. So we want to see if we can calm the speeds down and reduce the collisions. And then in that way, we can also offer another more comfortable space for people who want to ride bikes as an option to driving, those that are able to. I know it's a fairly steep hill, but maybe fun going down, I don't know. And then one of the requests that we heard through the community was, can we also please look at what other pedestrian opportunities there might be to make it more comfortable to be walking as well. So this is a relatively low budget project, but what we want to do is talk to you about low cost opportunities to help make it work better for you to move up and down as a pedestrian. So I have some comment sheets here. I think hopefully I have enough, but if not, I'll put them onto the webpage so that people can download them, and we'll give everyone a couple of weeks to fill them out. And they're pretty simple. What we're asking you to do is kind of select like the top 2 priority locations and circle them on the map, the intersections that you're most concerned about. Tell us why. And then we have a page with some low-cost options that we might be considering, and we can hear other opportunities as well. But these are like crosswalks. They're using paint and posts to make a wider curve ball so that people can move into the street more comfortably, and we can shorten the distance to cross. Signs where they might be appropriate that remind people who are driving that to stop for people who are walking. Stop because it's the law, and sometimes you see it turn into the clock. So those are some of the ideas that we're kind of like looking at, and we just want to hear more. Actually, we want to do less talking and hear more from you about what you're experiencing at the areas and what you think might be helpful to make this a great street for everyone to use.
Dawn, how long is this comment period for that you're accepting these?
September 2nd.
September 2nd. Okay,
yeah.
so it'll be before our limit.
Yeah. I want to make sure, so, Sam, do you have anything that you want to add?
No, that was good.
Okay, so I'm Dawn Schellenberg, and I work with the Seattle Department of Transportation, and this is Sam Woods, and she also works there, and we've met a lot of you already, and look forward to hearing what you have to tell us. So maybe we can start with this intersection area here. It's kind of unique. The different streets feed into it.
Nobody stops here.
Okay.
I cross here all the time, and very rarely when I start to cross, I walk here almost every day. Maybe 1 out of 10 people stop.
Yeah, I've been given the finger in the crosswalk. I've had drivers actually go through while I'm in the crosswalk, drive around a car that stopped and go through it. It's so dangerous.
I've experienced the same thing. We stopped for a person crossing the street in this lane right here. We're coming up, and a guy came behind us, went around through the passing lane, and then just kept on going. So
You take your life in your hands every time.
I know that each different section everywhere are going to be marked out differently, correct?
Right.
So this section here is not going to change any, correct?
So this section, let's see.
So this section, right, so we'll keep the 2-way left turn lane, the crosswalk, you'll see a bike lane on this side and a
Then
bike
you guys
lane.
propose putting the radar speed read down towards the bottom before you take the bend on Lander, correct?
Right.
Just like you have one up here by Garlow. My question is, why bother? I can stand there to cross the street to go to my house, and these guys, you got it there, are supposed to be 30 miles an hour, and they're going 35, 40 miles an hour up the hill. In other words, when they come around the corner, they're on, I guess that's 53rd and Lander there. I can't even cross. By the time they come around the corner, I'm lucky if I'm halfway across out of the way and they're bearing up the hill. So what's the purpose of putting, you're talking about cost effects, but it's got to cost you guys plenty of money to put one of those radar things in there.
Is your preference that we don't do it?
I prefer, you need to figure out some other way to slow these folks
Yeah,
up.
they don't.
Well, just as a traffic engineer, I'll tell you that I've done these, and it's not going to slow everybody down, but it does have an impact, and it does slow down a lot of
Not
people.
many of them.
No, it does slow some down. Not
all of
Not
us
all.
can go down there and stand in front of that radar right now, and you can watch how many of them are going past 30 miles an hour. The only ones that won't be going over 30 is because the guy in front's going 30 and everybody else is on his rear end there tailing up the hill.
So I want to add that
sometimes, let me finish. Sometimes I have to literally force myself onto Admiral Way to slow down. And then when they come by, I have to scream at them to slow down. And like the gentleman lady just said, they just flip you off. And what gets me is down there on the other end of Admiral Way, going down the hill, the cops are always down there enforcing it. And of course, after a while, people get to, oh yeah, I better make sure I'm doing 30 miles an hour down there. Why, I don't understand. The cops don't sit down here and enforce it, considering down on that side of Admiral Way, there's hardly any homes. And there's tons of homes on Admiral Way from here all the way down to 61st or whatever it is.
I suggest just collectively the neighborhood make more contact with the city and the police department,
I think the police
saying
should be
things.
down there.
So,
Oh, yeah.
you guys say something to them.
So
more.
look at I'm pretty active in the Alki Community Council. We had policemen down there time and time again telling the same old story, time and time again, the same story. The problem they come back with is we don't have the manpower. And they're quite honest with us.
They got the
say,
manpower to use the police down there at the other end, but they don't have the manpower to do it on this
Well,
end.
And they're watching the bike lane on the bus lane on the West Seattle Bridge. They're always there ticketing all day long, or all morning, all commute long. But yeah, this is really dangerous here. You're taking your life in your hands to enter these crosswalks.
And the other, and like the gentleman said, he's crossed the crosswalk here, and some of these guys are coming up. Instead of waiting, they choose to go into the center turn lane, the left lane, to bypass the car to stop for the crosswalk.
Actually, a lot of people use the turn lane as a passing lane.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
all the time.
I'm jumping in lane.
But to your point, between here and 57 is where the true bad speeds occur. Because it's these S curves. Because of the S curves, whether the people are going uphill or downhill. Because if you think about it, you know, there is nothing stopping you. And by the time you get around towards 57, they are flying, and they're doing the same way. They're flying uphill, which is why what we're saying is there needs to be a serious to slow people down. You know, I don't know. I can't speak for here.
Enforce it.
So the only time we have photo enforcement is in a 20-mile-an-hour school zone. But there's a
What about
you have to have a
speed
school.
bumps?
You have to, so on a grade, speed bumps are extremely
I think that'd be better
hazardous.
than radar.
Yeah. So I mean, we heard that Dawn and I are both taking notes. Some of the things that I heard was not only the speeding, but also that bad motorist behavior, passing the two-way left turn lane.
Oh, excuse me, but you're wrong. Because when you go up 35th, it's photo enforced.
But that's at schools. So
No,
that's
there's
a
no
school
school.
zone.
Not on 35th.
Yeah,
You can
there
see
is.
it. It used to be 4 lanes. They reduced it down to 2 lanes, but up there where it's 4 lanes, before it goes to
Yeah.
2,
At Kentucky Fried Chicken?
as you flatten out
Are you
at the
talking
top,
about if you run the
I'm
light?
talking about when you're coming up 35th by the retirement home right there. As soon as it flattens out at the top, you can see the sign right there. It says photo enforced.
That's because they have been waiting for
And that's a main arterial, just like Admiral
it's-
Way is.
so-
So if they can photo enforce that, I can't see why they can't.
So
enforce
I just need your contact info, and then I will send you what school that's for and stuff like that.
it. It's not even a school.
It's Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
at the very top. I'm talking
So
about down low.
there's a
where it flattens
crosswalk.
out a long way before it drops down where it's.
The conversation will work way better if we all allow each other an opportunity to respond as well, and other folks to talk too. So Sam, you want
I'm
to?
just saying it is. You're saying it's because it's a main arterial. You can't put it.
no, that's not what I said. I said we can legally, by law, only put 20-mile-an-hour radar speed enforcement at schools, private, public schools. So we can do it for high schools all the way to elementary schools.
What I'm saying is
You're saying
where-
there's not
where
a
it
school-
flattens out,
Yeah.
which is past
So,
Guadalupe, way north of that, it says photo enforced.
So I will give you the information, but I think we don't need to talk. I mean, like honestly, like that's the law, right? So I mean, there's
I
something.
don't think it's the law because they're doing it. That's
And
what
you've
I'm
been
saying.
for one at Alki, because that is a school, and people don't stop. There's a red light, but
That's a good-
59,
thank you. That's a very
59
good suggestion.
chooses to use that as a green light. So I've been walking through that intersection for
59.
6 years every day, taking my kids to and from school. 59th does not stop. People coming up to turn to go to school, they turn left on red. The buses turn left on red. And I have had to stop for cars and bikes in that intersection because they don't stop and let the pedestrians through. School times is switching. Alki starting at 7:30 or 7:50 something. So at 7:30 there's going to be kids going through that crosswalk. In the winter it's dark.
Yeah.
We're also, I assume, losing our crossing guard because we used Lafayette's last year, and Lafayette now will start at the same time as Alki. So there's going to be kids in the dark crossing at an unsafe intersection. If we can put 20-mile-an-hour photo enforced at a school, when there.
Great. Let's go here and then back here and then back over here.
What about what did you say about speed bumps down there at the Schmitz Park entrance and with the blinking cross lights to get people's attention to stop? Either that or a full-on light, and I'm guessing, being the CPAIN, you guys don't have the budget to put in another light right there. But there, that is the main problem, is that, as I keep saying, they're just speeding like mad both directions because there's nothing. And a little rinky-dink crosswalk, as you can see, it's not successful here. You're taking your life in your hands. It's not going to be any more successful down there. And here's the nice thing about here is that people can actually see. They've got plenty of visibility to see coming down, and they don't stop. We're putting something down there with all the S-curves. If you don't alert them, and like if you wait to 57, they can't stop. They're speeding too fast.
57,
There's a huge visibility issue. But in Schmitz Park, you've got plenty of viewing coming downhill, and if you put in the blinking lights, and if you can do speed bumps, I think speed bumps, if you can't do speed bumps, if you can maybe get the cops to sit there, more times than not.
So Sam, I'm going to let you just talk about the speed bumps and we'll get right over to you.
So what I want to talk about speed pumps that we put on some arterial streets are we have to get approval from the fire department. So on a lot of arterials, we're not allowed to put speed humps. Yeah, I know, because it's loud, I know, and I'm facing this way. So the speed humps on arterial streets have to be approved by the fire department. And so at a certain grade, and also if you're on a motorcycle on a grade, they're incredibly hazardous. So, we can look into it, but my guess is, from my experience with the city, and I've been here for a long time and trying to do traffic calming, that's a very difficult thing. And then we go into what we would call, not speed humps, what are the ones we use? Cushions. Yeah, speed cushions. So they're like a lot less effective, but the fire trucks' wheelbases are wide enough to clear them, and so obviously some trucks are as well. But they are marginally effective. They're a lot smaller profile, so we can look into that.
Like the ones there on Beach Drive?
No, I think those ones are more like the speed humps, but I'd have to go look at it.
59th has something too.
Yeah, and that would be a non-arterial. So, but what I want, like this non-compliance for stopping, and it's the law to stop, so we can look at some improved signage. But one of the things we could look at, and Larry, you get your opinion about this too, is maybe some islands that not where people are turning, but maybe islands to prevent that passing in the two-way left turn lane when someone stops, because that's a multiple threat potential, where one lane stops for the pedestrian and then someone goes around. That's incredibly hazardous because it's at a higher speed. And a lot of times the pedestrian isn't expecting that and they're looking the other direction, so they start crossing. So that could be something we can look at here, and you can do them sort of low cost with delineator posts. So I think in the handout you might see something that we have for low cost. So obviously at this intersection there's a lot of turns because there's a lot of streets, so it'd have to be a little bit away because like if you do it right at the crosswalk, that's where someone's making a left turn, so it might have to be a little bit away. But we can talk more about that, because that multiple threat collision potential is really serious. And it also just I don't know, there's like possibility for overhead sign to say crosswalk. There's like some other signing improvements we can look at.